Well, definitely my hope is to. This one is an old one. I'm not even sure that it's that good anymore because one of the most annoying things with different people using it is it's really hard to clean these out. You have to be quite fastidious about cleaning out air guns. There's such small holes there. It's very easy for them to get blocked up with paint or lacquers. So yeah, you do have to be quite careful about cleaning them out. And this one's been running for a few years. So, describing what this machine does.
Spray paint thing.
Well, not just the paint.
Well.
Oil-based as well as lacquer-based, water-based, sorry. With oil-based lacquers, you've got to use thinnings or water, methylated spirits to clean it out, so you do have to be quite careful with that. You have to spray that into your spray booth. With water-based, you can just tip water into that and spray any unwanted lacquer in there and give it a good clean out. There's various brushes and tools to try and clean it with, but you do have to be quite careful about cleaning out whether it is oil or water-based. Paints you'll usually have to thin out, again whether it's oil-based or whether it's water-based, you have to thin that. It's called a viscosity, and if you pour it in there too thick, it's not going to get through the tubes quick enough. So there is a bit of time and patience in doing some test runs first before you go into your actual piece of furniture. But it gets, so you get an air hose here and that pushes out. You can get gravity fed ones, so gravity is just forced down. You do get cups on the underneath here as well, and that can get sucked up and pushed out through the nozzle as well. So you've got the paint cup. They can come in a variety of different sizes. If it's bigger, it's heavier, it gets in the way a bit more, but then you can cover your whole piece of furniture if it's a large piece. If it's smaller, slightly more versatile, you can get into cubby holes better. But then it's hard if you're doing a big wardrobe and you get halfway through and then you have to refill your cup. So there's pros and cons to the size of cup that you have. The nozzle itself, you can see the holes that get pushed through there, they can get easily blocked. But the nozzle, the second one on here, when I pull that trigger, you can just see the pin getting pushed back in, and that allows the air pressure to get pumped out. You've got the trigger, just like in a gun. And same with a drill. Cordless drill gun as well. You can get a different pace of speed just by how much you pull it, and then that pin going through the centre here gets pushed out. Give that full throttle, and it'll be at full power. I can also give it half power as well, and everything in between. There's a two-stage in this as well, so it can actually pump out just air, which quite often you'll see, unless you give your furniture a really good wipe down, it might have a bit of dust in it, so you can just blow it down first. Even when the cup's still on it with water, and just blow air out, and once the extraction is taken away then you can give it the actual juice, and the lacquer or the paint will start coming out from there. So your trigger has different stages to it. You can pump out just air, or it can give you the material as well.
Can you dust it when you have a paint in it?
Yes, that's what I was saying. Yeah. So the cap can be on. Sometimes, if you're not experienced, you can get that wrong and accidentally the spray will come and give you a wee patch. So it might be safe, just good practice, just to have the cup off and spray it down. You've got the air cap, it usually screws on, and that can give you, the air cap can go on, you can give that different directions, so sometimes you're spraying up and down, sometimes you're spraying a thin rail going along, so you want to go in the direction that these forks are shooting along. So if I want to spray the edge of this, I'd be having that facing the direction that I'm going. But this leg actually might be better just to loosen it and spray it up and down like that as well.
Is that attached to the nozzle?
It's screwed on,
Yeah.
but you don't have to have it, well, you wouldn't want to have it.
What did you say the purpose of the air cap was?
Well, this sends the direction. So if I just loosen that off slightly, I can have different directions of where the spray fan goes.
But there's no come out the nozzle way.
It comes out the front here, yeah,
Aye.
and then you get the air that atomises it.
So it makes the spray bigger or smaller.
Right, got you, right.
So you can have it, if you're covering a whole board, you want quite a
Aye,
wide
so you
fan.
can actually make it come out very thin, or you can make it out like a shower,
Yep.
more or less,
Uh-huh.
kind of. Aye.
Just think of like your garden hose, how you can change it.
Aye, same kind of shit.
Yeah.
You get a spanner to take this off, but there's actual, I don't want to take this all the way out, but there is a needle in there, and so when that trigger, you can just see the needle in here, and that pulls it back and forth to how much gets atomised. These nozzles on the end here, so that determines how much air gets supplied in, so this has to be tested before you actually go to your piece. So your compressor might be forcing too much air out and atomising the paint or the lacquer too much, or if it's just dribbling out and not even reaching the furniture, then obviously you need more air put in. So that allows you to test how much is going out, and you can fiddle about with what size of fan that you use as well. And so these nozzles can determine how big or how directed the fan is. Safety is more about looking after your lungs. So you need a decent respirator, you know, one with the actual filters on the side here. Just your normal, like a dust clip like that would be pointless for spraying. So you need a decent mask, and you also need decent extraction as well. Because it's atomised so finely, it usually lands on your furniture and dries very quickly, but you still get overspray, and if you've got a good extraction, that'll take the overspray immediately rather than sitting around you and getting into your nose.
Would you still put PPE down for that?
Yeah,
Would you wear ear defenders like?
yeah.
Overalls probably be a good idea.
Overalls is a good idea, yeah, protect your clothes. You will often usually get a little turntable.
Is it
so
noisy?
the extraction unit is,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
even,
right.
yeah, college would definitely recommend ear defenders anyway.
Right, so PPE.
Yeah, you kind of get that lazy Susan that just pivots, and you have a block of MDF or sheet material on that, and that means you can spin your chair or your piece of furniture around. And when you've done that dozens and dozens of times, the actual lacquer builds up really quite thick. That overspray that lands on the table, it comes in layers in there, and you can break it off.
Excuse me, Johnny, could you recap what were we to put down for needle and needle spring? Sorry.
Well, that just determines how much pressure comes out and how much material comes out.
Is that the needle?
Yeah,
Right,
which is obviously related to the trigger.
The needle spring's just what controls the needle.
Yeah. So again, it'd be much better to actually get this out and show, which we will do at some point, even if it's just I think a good practice is getting one of those, like, you know, the really cheap rolls of paper you can just roll out, and kids can use it while I'm drawing on walls, and you can put water in the cup and just practicing that spraying action. It's about being consistent, not doing an arc, because by the time you're here, you're far away, and by the time you're here, you're too close. So you're getting a constant fan spray, keeping the same distance. So it's about practicing that and being systematic about what you spray. So even if it was this, then you've got, I'm not going to count them, but you've got a lot of surface areas to count. So it's about reaching the more awkward ones here. So you'd work on the back first, and then you'd work on the front, and then you'd be able to, hopefully that'll be a lazy Susan, so you'd be able to turn that around and do the same the other side. But yeah, there's a lot of surfaces area, and it's easy to forget. Something like lacquer, especially when you're on your second or third coat, it's not always instantly see what you've missed out and what you've got. Obviously, if you've got something bland here and you've got paint in the pot, you know exactly what you're getting when you haven't, but sometimes it's not so easy. And again, unfortunately, that can't be described here. It just takes a bit of practice and using it a few times to be systematic about it, what you're spraying. But that's about as much as I can cover for theory until we actually get the booth up and ready.